What's going on, Baseliners? Welcome to another episode of the Baseline Facetime Podcast. We are so glad that you are here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and welcome to the show. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Baseline Facetime Podcast. Our first episode since the Los Angeles Lakers have been crowned NBA champions, NBA bubble champions 2020. We're going to talk about that a little bit and the smackdown that they put on the Miami Heat in Game 6 of this series. And we're going to talk a lot exclusively in this episode about LeBron and his legacy, getting, again, his fourth ring, his fourth Finals MVP. And we've got a special guest joining us today all the way from North Carolina, Mike Aldridge. What's up, bro?
What's going on? Hold on, man. I got a question. Why did you have to say LeBron like in the bubble? Why is it a bubble championship? Is it not just a championship?
Well, we're going to get into that. I don't know. Does it play a role for you?
Oh, let's chat, baby. Let's go.
I mean, I know. You know LeBron haters out there are gonna bring that into consideration and let that play a factor in what's happened. So what's going on with you? How's the family? It's been a minute since we talked.
Dude, it has been a minute, man. You are in New York, and I am down here in Carolina. A couple of years ago, we were both in Virginia together, so
right.
That's been the big difference here. But, family's doing good. My wife's working hard, and my daughter, man, she's growing up, getting big on us.
There you go. There you go. I know, right? So, that's good to hear. I'm doing well up here, and like I said, we're gonna get into Game 6, maybe a little finals recap in general. Since you haven't been on the show, obviously, before, we'll talk about that, and then we'll get into some LeBron talk. So Game 6, I don't know if you caught that one, but it was a embarrassment by halftime.
It wasn't even close. I mean, even out of the first quarter, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could just tell that these guys said, nah, this game's done. We shouldn't even be here right now.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, I turned it off at halftime. I think it was like a 25, 30-point game at halftime. And they ended up winning 106-93, but I think they led by 29 going into the fourth. It was just not a good game. I really wish that they could have closed out in Game 5 with the Kobe jerseys on. That would have been pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
No, for sure. I mean, like, even watching Game 5, I remember sitting there. I had my dad in town, and we're watching this game. We get so frustrated. It's like, what do we do now that they lost, right? Like, so lame. So we watched the episode of The Office and had to calm it down that way, you know?
Well, that'll usually do it. That'll do the trick. I know you're a big LeBron guy. LeBron dropped a 28-point triple-double in Game 6. AD with 19 and 15. Rajon Rondo had a great game. He kind of controlled it seemed like, in the first half, helped him get out to the big lead, had 19, 4 and 4. Bam led the way for Miami with 25. Bam grew up pretty close to where you're at, I think, sort of.
Did he?
Right, in Washington. He went to Washington. I don't know how far that is.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's a couple hours away.
Yeah. And so he led the way for them. Jimmy had 12, 7, and 8, kind of a quieter game for him, at least in the scoring column. And Tyler Hero with his first, I believe it was his first single-digit performance in the playoffs when they needed him to kind of go off the most. He only dropped 7. But what were your thoughts on Game 6 specifically? Obviously, we talked about it a little bit, but then just the series in general. Like, what was your takeaways?
Yeah. I mean, I think let's talk about individual performances first, and not even talking LeBron. Rondo played out of his mind, right? Yeah. Like, we watched Rondo, and Rondo, it shows why you need that veteran leadership on your team. Just the grit and the willingness to go after those loose balls and to do whatever it takes to score. I mean, dude, that was insane from Rondo, a guy who realistically probably shouldn't even have been in the league this year. Right? I mean, think about that. And then you've got, look at your boy, Danny Green. Danny Green misses that shot so bad at the end of Game 5. But then Game 6, right? Danny Green's like, all right, it's a whole new game. Let's just go ahead and play my game. He plays a great game, right? Mm-hmm. And then, now let's flip over to Miami. Miami, honestly, as a basketball fan, I'm pulling for Miami. But as a LeBron fan, I'm always going to overpull for LeBron. But Jimmy Butler, dude, what happened? I mean, you've been balling out all series, and then all of a sudden, you're gone. Yeah. Like, when your team needs you the most, and don't give me that, hey, he's tired thing. I mean, bro, LeBron's tired. You think he ain't tired? But, man, like, Jimmy just, in my opinion, he got punked that last game. And the same thing, Tyler Hero. Bro, you've been hooping it up. You're going to say, call me a bucket. You can't say call me a bucket and score 7 points. I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm not, I can't score 7 points in the league, but I'm saying, like, if you're getting paid, you want to be known as the next best thing, bro. You got to score
Yeah.
more than that. You got to go at it. And then Bam, man, Bam's playing hurt. He played great game. It's hard
Yep.
not to pull for that, but it's
Yep.
definitely interesting.
So what do you think? I mean, I asked a couple people this. So Goran Dragic, let's say he played. I mean, he played in that game sparingly. They put him in already down double digits. I think it was kind of a last ditch effort. Let's say he's healthy. Let's say Bam's healthy. I mean, that series has to go 7, right?
No, I don't think so, man.
No.
I think even LeBron, like from the get go, he knew that he was going to beat these guys. I think
Yeah.
that
Well.
honestly, the thing is that I was surprised it went 6. And so even with the healthy players, like I think that Lakers team is just so much more talented. You've heard the rumors that Giannis might end up, Miami's all in on Giannis.
Yeah.
Now, if he's with them, that's a completely different ball game. But I just don't think that the talent matches up. I think LeBron, when he saw that Miami won that series, I think he licked his lips, right? Because Boston's got a few more players that would be a little bit harder to guard versus, Miami.
Yep. I agree with you. He had to. I mean, he had to be licking his lips, man. I mean, this is the easiest finals he's had ever, probably.
No, absolutely. And I mean, Jimmy, let's call Jimmy Buckets. He came out of nowhere for this finals, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he literally willed that team to, 2 wins, which is phenomenal for him. And
Sure.
I mean, that game 5 performance he had just was ridiculous.
That game was awesome.
I mean,
that game was so cool, back and forth down the stretch, dude. I really, 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 it was the perfect dream. LeBron's wearing the Kobe jersey. They're down 1?
Yeah.
16 seconds left. Dude, there's no way. That's the storybook ending. Game 5, LeBron's got to put it out. I don't care if he shoots from half court.
Dude, I mean,
and I get in the play that they ran, he made the right decision.
absolutely.
Okay?
And I agree.
But
I fully agree with you.
My thing is run a different play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So when you look at LeBron, and we're going to talk about this a little bit too, LeBron's always going to make the basketball play, right? He doesn't go for the point himself. And that's going to be your difference between him and MJ is that LeBron, man, he doesn't have to have the ball at the end. He's going to give it to the best possible percentage of where he's going to win. But, man, I agree with you, dude. If he would have just – think about if he would have went up and boomed that thing or something like that.
Can you imagine?
Oh, my
From
goodness.
like Lillard range over Paul George kind of thing?
It's just one of those things. Like, it would have been insane, and then I still wouldn't have went to sleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was the storybook ending. I was literally hoping for that as that game was going on. I was like, wait a minute, like this got a chance to come down to the final possession. Let's hope LeBron has it in his hands. And again, made the right play, but it would have just been cool to see a different play. I mean, what more can you ask for? Danny Green, top of the key,
wide open,
wide.
And I don't know if you've seen that meme going around, but it's like, bro, like nobody even at Disney World can get that open. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
That's true.
And so I'm
true.
watching this, and like, I mean, after that game, I'm like, man, Jimmy Butler's becoming a true star in this league.
Yeah.
And then there's game 6. So.
Yeah. Exactly. I think even with Jimmy, he stepped up, and I mean, obviously there's always been a lot of comparisons between him and Paul George. Mm-hmm. I think he kind of settled that.
Oh yeah.
At least in playoff mode this year. I mean, he had to put the team on his back with Bam and Goran out, and he did that. So
Absolutely.
props to Miami for what they were able to do. Real quick, are they the favorites in the East next year for you?
Oh man, I mean, if they land a Giannis somehow, or if they land another big name agent, absolutely. I mean, I think they are missing one key player, and then, dude, you got to watch out. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. What about?
It might be
one guy we haven't mentioned at all, Duncan Robinson.
Dude's a bucket.
Dude,
oh my goodness.
Okay. Like, I don't know if you heard this story. I heard the story on the radio the other day about LeBron. He's hanging out, Duncan Robinson. They finally got to bring friends to the bubble, or friends and family. So he's got his best friend in the bubble with him. They're having lunch, and LeBron walks up and says, "What's up, Dunk?" To him. And he says his best friend just geeks out, right? Like his best friend's like, yo, he just called you Dunk, all that, And so then they're like, what, LeBron's trying to recruit this dude. They need another 3-point shooter in LA. I'm like, bro, like, dude truly showed he can hoop.
He can. He's got an amazing quick release. It's like I don't know. I mean, I know you saw some of those catch and shoots, but it's fast.
It's
He gets that thing out so quick.
it's because he's been blocked a lot, you know? It's one of those
Yeah.
things you learn how to shoot fast when you get blocked when you're young. So that's not.
Yeah, he's definitely learned. So, again, props to them, but props to LA for getting it done. And a big part of that has been Anthony Davis. Question for you with that. All of LeBron's teammates over the years, where do you rank Anthony Davis?
Oh man, that's a tough one there. I mean,
It is tough.
it's so hard. You know, he's got to be, in my opinion, he's 3, right? There's a,
3, okay.
Yeah, he's number 3. Well, no, he's number 2, right? He's number 2. Period. I mean, you got Dwayne Wade, and then you've got Anthony Davis. That's my opinion. I mean, I could definitely be proven wrong, but I mean, Chris Bosh, when Chris Bosh was healthy, could definitely make a comparison there. But dude, I'm telling you, the way that Anthony Davis plays defense is out of this world. I mean, he can guard all 5 positions at any time, and so I mean, we saw it in each of the series. I mean, think about him blocking Damian Lillard. I mean, he's just shutting people down. It's just like, okay, game over. And when Jimmy Butler had Anthony Davis on him, nothing. But when he'd get Kyle Kuzma or he'd get one of those other guys on him, he would just own them. So yeah, it's gotta be number 2 after Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, to me, he's at least 2. And I think it's harder right now. Obviously, it's easier to rank these guys when it's all said and done. You know, because Anthony Davis could very well, you and I both know, he could very well finish with a better career than Dwayne Wade. And then you're like, oh, okay. And so I don't know. You know, obviously, in our minds right now, it's hard to because he's only got 1 ring with them. If they do it again next year, they get a three-peat, then maybe we're having a different discussion. But yeah, I mean, Dwayne Wade's defense too.
I mean, dude,
You know,
Dwayne Wade was phenomenal. I mean, him and LeBron are best friends. So isn't that every guy's dream who loves to hoop? Like you get to play with your best friend and you get to dominate the league. I mean, it's just there.
Dream.
So
It's a dream. So obviously he played a big role in them getting it done. There was a lot of rumors even coming into the series and even early on in the series as to who would win the Finals MVP. We saw LeBron kind of pushed it. You know, there was no doubt within the last 2-3 games who was getting that. Early on, it was a little more speculation, but and he would have gotten a lot of scrutiny if he got his 4th ring, but only still with his 3 Finals MVPs. But he was able to get it there. So let's just do it. Let's dive in. LeBron James. Let's chat. We'll probably bring up MJ a lot. We'll probably bring up rings. We'll bring up all these MVPs. We'll bring up all these accolades. We'll bring up all the first-team All-NBAs. And let's just kind of do a little debating here. So LeBron's legacy, what does this ring mean for him in your mind? This bubble ring for him.
So we're back to the bubble ring again. That's fine. I think, when we look at first, let me say this. The bubble was amazing, right? Like for this whole COVID, everything, like, bro, the bubble was amazing. No positive test. And the guys did exactly what they want to get paid to do. They got paid to hoop. You know what I'm saying? Hoop, go back to the hotel room, chill, practice a little bit, hoop again. Dude, phenomenal. You know, it reminded me a lot of like a March Madness before at a professional level, and loved it. Loved that. All right, so now let's chat a little bit about the bubble ring. Here's the thing: when I think LeBron and I think about his legacy versus an MJ versus anybody else, LeBron has been on 3 teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Each of those teams has a championship, and it's all because of LeBron. If he's not there, they don't win those championships. Period.
Not even remotely close.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the Lakers from 3 years ago. All right. First off, most of the team is gone. you know, and look at what their record winning percentage was, right? And then last year, of course, LeBron, he doesn't make the playoffs, whatever. Like he's coming in, he's trying to get his people in there. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's trying to change. Not to say that the Lakers don't have a winning mentality, but those Lakers didn't have a winning mentality. So when he shows up, he comes in and completely disrupts everything, and then boom, he wins it. Right? Same thing in Cleveland. Right? I mean, it's just you keep looking at this over and over again. This guy is the true ultimate gamer when it comes to basketball. We talked about it just a little bit ago at the beginning. He might not take that final shot, but he's going to at least assist the final shot, or he's going to block, or he's going to do something that's going to set you up for the win, for the entire thing. So,
yeah, I mean, and even to that point, not only does he come into a new city, blow it up, and change everything for the current organization. But he changes everything in the most disastrous way for the team he's leaving every single time. I mean, look at Cleveland now, where Colin Sexton and Darius Garland or whatever his name is. I mean, that's their future, and it's not very bright. I don't remember exactly what Miami's record was when he left there to go back to Cleveland, but they weren't a contender anymore.
No.
Every single team he goes to for the last 17 years, I mean, obviously not his first couple years, but his last 13, 14 years, has a title chance. It's incredible.
And that's the thing. Like, when you look at what happens with LeBron and the way that he goes, there's a championship mentality. It's championship or bust for LeBron. And, bro, think about how many finals this guy has been to. He's been to 10 finals, okay? The knock on him is that he's been to 10 finals and he only has 4 championships. Fine.
Let's get into that. Let's
go. So when you look at that, he's got 4 championships, 10 chances at it. I mean, that's 40%. All right, nobody likes 40%. But he's been there 10 times. He's carried teams that just don't deserve to be there 10 times, right?
Yeah.
When Mo Williams is your best point guard, there's an issue. I'm just going to put that out there. When Ilgauskas is your center and you're dragging these guys with you, there's an unbelievable level of talent that this guy has that, even Michael Jordan didn't have it like that. I mean, he had Scottie Pippen all those years. We look at this and like it's MJ versus LeBron. That's what it always comes down to. Let's completely call it. MJ has 6 rings. He never lost in the finals. But my argument against that is that he didn't get to the finals until he got those other guys on his team. Right? Yeah. And so that's great. So cool. I love Scottie Pippen. I love The Last Dance. I love Michael Jordan. I think he's a phenomenal player. Right? When it comes down to it, was he maybe the best, basketball player of all time? Possibly, right? Possibly. But I think LeBron is the best teammate, the best basketball IQ guy you're ever going to have. Just the way he changes the game and he changes everybody around him and he makes them so much better. To take a guy like Mo Williams and bring him all the way up to the championship. Dude, we're talking about Larry Nance Jr. He's a champion because of LeBron. All right? Here's another one. J.R. Smith. Right? J.R. Smith is a 2-time champion because of LeBron. Like, you can't tell me shirtless J.R. Smith deserves all of this, but it's, he's there with LeBron. He's making those dumb plays. But I think about this over and over, and it's just like, how much more does he need to elevate everybody else around him to get to that level, right? And so that's what I think. Yeah, it's 4 out of 10, but he's been there 10 times. And at the end of the day, he's going to be the number 1 in all the statistics. And so what does that tell you?
Yep. Well, even to that, he broke the record for NBA playoff games played this year, which kind of went under the radar. I think I saw that on Twitter. They don't talk about that as much, on the games and things, but. And to your point, the 4-6 record, getting there is an accomplishment, and it should be. And in this debate, they don't realize that. They think Jordan went 6-0 and only played in 6 years of an NBA, and that was it. They kind of treat it like that. It's like, okay, 6-0 when he's there, but what about the years he did not get there?
What about when Detroit was beating the mess out of him, right? And he couldn't get there. What about when Orlando put you out? I'm just saying, like, there's teams that were good teams, but come on now. LeBron, like Jimmy Butler said this, we know that the championship has always gone through LeBron, and that's what we got to do this year. They still acknowledge that. How many years has he been in the league now? 17 years. This guy should be past his prime. He's putting up numbers that are ridiculous. He's averaging basically a triple-double in the finals. He's 17 years into his career. It's unbelievable that people can still say that this guy doesn't even deserve to be in the conversation about it.
Well, yeah, this year in the finals, he averaged 30, 12, and 8.5 assists.
Yeah.
It's insane, and he is still setting personal milestones for individual seasons. Led the league in assists this year. You don't see guys doing that in their 17th year.
And that's the thing.
He's
So now
incredible.
let's chat about MVP, right? Because that's another thing. So MVP, if LeBron, whatever he says he wants to do, he goes out and he does it, right? If he wants to get 20 rebounds in a game, he'll go get 20 rebounds in a game. If he wants to get a ridiculous amount of assists, that's what he's going to do. If he's going to chase after points, he'll do that. But instead of always chasing out individual statistics, he's trying to make his teammates better. You know what I'm saying? He's focused on the bigger picture of winning the championship every single year. While, not that Giannis isn't looking for that, but it's just,
Sure.
let's be honest. If you take LeBron away from this team, how much more do they drop, right? They become the Pelicans.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they become. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Davis, he went to the playoffs once, twice in his career. I mean, he's a phenomenal NBA talent. But, when you pair him with a guy like LeBron, it changes everything. And so my goal would be is that LeBron decides to bring his talents to Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? I mean, bro, think about that. If he came to Charlotte and he just went to his fourth city and he brought a ring to Charlotte, there would be no debate ever. This guy is the best ever.
Bro, you can only wish. And I know why you're such a big LeBron fan. I was actually gonna touch on that. I mean, you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, and so as a Charlotte Hornets fan, you got to chase somebody, so you chase LeBron. So not a bad strategy. That's how I used to be when the Sixers weren't very good. We had a disappointing year this year. I ain't even gonna talk about that. We ain't got enough time in the day to talk about that. But yeah, so 4-6, Michael 6-0. So I wrote down a lot of stats. So in LeBron's finals career in 55 games. 55 games.
55. Just understand that once we get to 80, he's now played a season of just final games. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So in those 55 games, he's averaged 28.5, 10 boards, and 8 assists. 28.5, 10 boards, 8 assists. Michael in 35 games with the 6-0 averaged almost 34, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Again, just in the finals, and we can get into individual series, and we can talk about the ones. Even LeBron mentioned when they headed into this series, he was like, well, I won when I was supposed to win, I lost when I was supposed to lose, or something like that. Which I think there's one that's up for debate with that, with the Mavericks series. I think he should have won that one, but
I'd love to say that he went 10 for 10 or something like that. In my opinion, that's what you should do as a player, as the greatest of all time. You want to go 10 for 10, but like once again, look at that team that he's bringing up around him. And so even that first year there in Miami, those guys were still gelling together, and that they ran into a Dallas team that just got stupid hot, right? And you all know this. Once you get confident and you start shooting well, what do you do with it? You gotta hope that they miss eventually. So.
Oh, that series was crazy. Dirk was shooting them off the screen, and they were falling in with the high arc, and Jason Terry went off, and something actually worth noting in that series, which I didn't realize or forgot. LeBron was the third leading scorer for Miami in that series. Mm-hmm. So they lost to the Mavs in 6 in 2011. He averaged 18, 7, and 7. Obviously, very good numbers,
exactly.
But not LeBron numbers. I think things turned the tide the next year. When he got that first title, everything
hold on. So
changed.
let's go back to that year where they did lose to Dallas, right? So LeBron comes into Miami. Miami is whose town? It's Wade County, right? Like, period. It's Wade County. So LeBron's already, and this sounds weird, but LeBron's in Dwayne Wade's shadow. And LeBron, he's the kind of guy who's not going to try to take that away from his boy, right? He's already got that championship. So he's like, you know what? Like, we're boys. I'm going to make sure you get yours, Dwayne Wade, right? And that's what it was. If you go back, you look at Dwayne's numbers, like you can see LeBron's still counting on him to do everything. And I think there was a conversation recorded that Dwayne Wade told him after that, you do you. And that's what changed. Once that switch came on, hey, it's cool for you to actually attack, for you to do what you came here to do. Everything changed because I think Chris Bosh, if I'm not mistaken, he played that year. He won that championship with him. That next year's when he got hurt. And so, I mean, like, it was really LeBron and Dwayne again. And so, but once he got that permission kind of thing from Dwayne Wade, because, he is a friend guy. He's loyal to his friends, point blank. He wasn't trying to take over Dwayne Wade's spotlight. But once Dwayne said, "Hey, here
Yeah.
you go," dude, LeBron turned into a different animal after that.
He did. And I think the big reason that that narrative could even play out was because, yes, LeBron, to that point when he came there, he had spent, 8 years in Cleveland, I guess, 7, 8 years. And he
So
was
tell me,
ringless. Dwayne
think
Wade
about
had
this:
one.
in those 8 years at Cleveland, who was the best guy he ever played with?
Not very good.
You
I
know what I'm
don't even
saying?
know. Uh, I don't know. Ilgauskas? I don't know. Ilgauskas was I think he made a couple All-Star teams, actually.
Ilgauskas, Anderson.
But,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy.
insane.
Eric
Dude,
Snow,
remember,
Daniel
he's
Gibson.
dragging these guys with him in the playoffs, right?
Well, and that's why they got swept in
Yeah.
2007 by the Spurs. I mean, there was just no
There's no
competition.
chance. I mean, think about this: a Dwight Howard team beat a LeBron James Cleveland team, right? Dwight Howard
Yeah.
and Orlando beat them. It's crazy that,
Yeah.
that's the team they were surrounding him with. But then when he left, it's like, okay, I'm going to take my talents and go somewhere where it was great. Now, his big mistake, the reason people hate him is because he created the super team, right? But it was time for him to actually go somewhere where they could truly compete with the West, or they could truly compete against Paul George and Kevin Garnett and those guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's just insane when I think about like what this guy had to come through, and like, bro, he once he goes back to Cleveland, he brings them that championship that they've been waiting for forever. It's absolutely insane.
Which I mean, that's got to be the iconic moment for him. I mean, down 3-1, best team ever, and they're able to get it done. And he averaged almost triple double in that one, 30, 11, and 9 in that series.
And that's
Very
the thing.
impressive.
Like this guy, like wherever he goes, it brings the championship pedigree for them, and that's got to be noted. Think about Michael Jordan. Since almost everyone will tell you Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. Think about that Washington team he went to. I mean, he goes and he's got to work with these guys, and they say, no, Michael's mean. We don't want to play with Michael. And he's out, in no time. Like, there's something to be
Yeah.
said about LeBron, how he keeps going places. And yes, it does blow up, and he does send away the core at the beginning. But then he gets the people who he wants to play with, and he takes them to just a completely different level.
Exactly. That's key because he doesn't just come in, blow it up, and it doesn't work. It's always worked.
That's
Every
right. So
team he's
let's
been
go
on.
Hornets, baby.
They've been able to get it done. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Can you
Dude,
imagine?
17 years in the league. His son is, what, 2 years away from coming to the league? And I mean,
Yeah. Well, the Hornets got a
oh,
chance
they're
at
going
that
to
first
have a
pick.
chance then. But the question is, don't you think LeBron wants to play at least a year or two with his son? I mean,
would be
think
so
about that.
cool.
What if he goes ahead and he gets his son a title and he rides out that way? I'm
That would
I'm
be
just saying, like,
unbelievable.
it would be insane, and people would still find a way to hate on him. Oh, well, he had to wait till his son got here to win a
Yeah.
championship. Well, what? Like,
Well, people really hate even on the longevity of what he's doing. With only having 4 titles, again, 10 appearances, but in 17 years, it's like, you should never, and people do it way too often, count his longevity in the NBA against him.
absolutely.
Saying, oh, it took him, let's say it takes him 20 years, he ends up with 5 rings. It's like, well, it took him 20 years, but that still is so amazing what he's doing. And I don't foresee LeBron being a guy that's going to go out, averaging 15
Yeah.
a game. I don't know. Just kind of off the top of my head, I think he's going to go out on top. He's showing absolutely no signs of declining for whatever reason.
Let me float out
It's
another
nuts.
thing to you, okay? All right. So, how many finals has LeBron been in? Okay. And how many years has he been in the league? So 10 out of 17 years, this guy has been in the finals. All right. That's more than 50%. Let's just switch sports just for a second. Tom Brady has how many rings? He has 6 rings. Over how many years?
More than that. I don't know.
18,
What is it,
19,
19?
somewhere in there. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's been to the championship game how many times? I think they've lost two, right? I think he lost twice.
3. So the
Okay, so he's lost three. So he's been there 9 times. And Tom Brady is known as the greatest player, the greatest quarterback of all time. And it's period, right? All right. So is
Yep.
Tom Brady going to get the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl this year?
Doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. I'm just saying. Okay. But now think about this. So over 20 years, Tom Brady gets to the Super Bowl 9 times, right? That's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
That's what they say. LeBron's already beat those numbers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's been there 10 times, right? He doesn't have the 6 rings yet. He's got 4. He's got a chance to keep this thing going. I don't see the Lakers going anywhere this next year. I mean, and you're going to tell me that the Clippers hiring Tyronn Lue is going to put them above the Lakers now? Come on now.
Yeah, I know, right? But even with that, yeah, it's crazy. LeBron is amazing, and we just need to witness this greatness as it continues on this path that he's on. So, what do you think it's going to take for him? I kind of know where you're at, but even just around the world to be more recognized as the greatest of all time, what's it going to take ring-wise? Is this the one that does it? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7? Is it,
Well, the argument's always going to be MJ has 6 rings.
Yep.
So get 6 rings. Go ahead.
And then a 6-6 is better than 6-0.
Absolutely, right?
It has to be.
I mean, it's got to be that you were there. That's the thing. You keep going over and over again. I mean, to be honest, I mean, he's got, if you think about it, he's at 37, if I'm not mistaken.
No, 35.
35. Okay, yeah, 35 is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? And he's still playing at a high level. He's probably still got another 2-3 years in his prime right now. Mm-hmm. And so, if he gets to another 3 championships, bro, this thing's unquestionable.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't see anybody ever beating that.
No.
I'm just throwing it out there. Like, yeah, you're going to have some guys that might chase him with stats, but realistically, it's going to be really hard to beat where he's at right now.
Sure. Absolutely. And I think with both of the guys, you can make an argument for some MVPs that they've missed. So LeBron with 4, Jordan with 5. He won 5, and I don't think he never finished lower than 6th in MVP voting after his rookie year. And then he got beat out by Magic 3 times. He got beat out by Barkley and Karl Malone once. And, that's pretty remarkable. I mean, he could have had, because he finished 2nd and 3rd those years, he could have had another 5 MVPs, if the voting goes the other way. And with LeBron, let me read you these numbers. These are, I think, just what describe LeBron so well. So his MVP finish since entering the NBA, all right, ready? He finished 9th his rookie year, 6th, 2nd, 5th, 4th. He won his first in 08-09. Then he went back-to-back 2009, 2010. Then he finished 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Last year he was injured, so he finished 11th, and then he finished 2nd this year. That's insane. He has not finished any lower than 5th since 06, excluding the injury. Like, what? And I was 10 when in 06. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane that he's doing it this long.
Let's think about this just for a second, though. I think one of the biggest reasons that he doesn't win the league MVP every single year is that the league needs to give it to somebody else to keep people watching.
Because it's expected.
It's expected. Like seriously, we both had this conversation earlier. Like, if LeBron leaves the Lakers, they're going to be a dumpster fire, right? Like the West is stacked. They might not make the playoffs again, right? I mean, Anthony Davis is great, but they might not make the playoffs. I'm just saying. But then when you switch that, it's crazy to me that this guy, we have to make up reasons why he can't win the MVP every single year. Now, yeah. Steph was the unanimous MVP. Steph was shooting lights out, dude, when he wasn't injured. And, that's awesome. But man, I'm telling you, there's just such a just difference when LeBron's on the court versus almost anybody else in the league.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that he won he won all 4 of his MVPs over a span of 5 years.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, again, he was right up there this year. He's right up there every single year. And I think it'd be very, very cool to see him get another one, just to show even that longevity. Because not everyone's going to pull up these stats where it's like, okay, he's been first team All NBA how many times? He's finished second, third, fourth in the MVP voting. But what they want to look at is MVPs. And if they see he won 4 out of 5 years from 2008 to 2012, and then he ends up getting one in like 2021, 2022, bro, that's longevity. And that just points to who he is. And I think that's going to help him. And then he ties Jordan in that category as well.
absolutely, fully agree.
And look, Jordan does have the 10 scoring titles, but that even points to just different era, different kinds of players that they are anyway. Jordan was a 9-time All-Defensive Team member. LeBron was 6, just to throw that out there. Mm-hmm. But we know LeBron's numbers, 27, 7, and 7 for his career. Michael, 36 and 5. But LeBron is still chasing some records. I mean, he's got a chance to be the all-time leading scorer, I believe.
And I think he does it. I mean, if he stays healthy, and there's nothing to show us that he's not going to stay healthy, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so LeBron, and so Michael can have this accolade of 10-time scoring champ, but LeBron's the greatest. He scored more points in the NBA, ever than anyone's ever done
in the history of it. You know what I'm saying? And probably ever will. I mean, it's going to be hard for people to catch up.
And I think that is the one stat I was referring to earlier, where people count that against him in his longevity. They're like, "Whoa, he just played so long." Like, sorry, bro. Like, what do you want me to, Sorry, I played long. Sorry, I, kind of had the body. I was in shape. I was determined. I was focused to make my career last that long where I could accomplish that.
Sorry, I didn't go and try play baseball. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry, I didn't go do something else. Sorry that, like, the team didn't want me anymore.
Yep.
I mean, I hate saying that, but, like, there's something to be said about, dude, honestly, if LeBron, when his 3 years are up in LA, right? Like, everybody's still going to want him, right? You're going to want him to come to your favorite team. If he would have went to the 76ers, you would be ecstatic.
I wanted him bad.
I'm just saying, like, it changes everything. Like, I'm talking about having the Hornets for him. Like, come on, bro. Like, everybody wants this guy. And I think, honestly, LeBron's going to go out when he's ready to go out. But he, like you said, he's not going to be down. He's not going to be the guy coming off the bench scoring 10 points a game, right? This guy's going to go down as just the best scorer, or the best points ever, And in my opinion, he goes down as the best player ever.
All right. Well, there it is. There it is. I was wanting to get it out of you. So you think he's going to go down as the greatest player ever. Okay. The way that you phrase that makes me wonder this. So LeBron retires today. For whatever reason. We know it's not going to happen. He retires today. Is it enough?
So, in my opinion, absolutely.
Okay.
Just because of looking at what he's done with the 3 teams he's been on.
Yep. Well, and the whole narrative, they said he couldn't do it in the West. What did he do? He went out and did it in the West, and they're going to be the favorites next year.
Not only that, it took them 2 years. 2 years to completely redo a losing Lakers team.
Yeah, they were terrible. And that's definitely something that's worth noting. And then, even just real quick, and then we'll wrap up, even to just kind of lose the narrative of this 4 and 6, LeBron did everything he could in pretty much all of those series. Let's look at the Warriors series. So he lost 3 out of 4 to them. In his losses, he averaged 35.8, 13 boards and 9 assists in 2015. They won in 16. In 17, he averaged a triple-double, 34, 12, and 10. But he couldn't help but Durant averaging 35 and Steph averaging 27. And then in 2018, when they got swept, he averages 34, 8.5 boards, and 10 assists. I mean, the dude was having those numbers and losing in series that didn't even go 6-7 games. Like, wow. We know what he was able to do this year.
Dude, I'm looking at those Golden State teams. They're starting 5 All-Stars, right? You've got LeBron. You've got Kyrie Irving, who's also an All-Star, right? Great guy. And then you've got an injured Kevin Durant for most of them. Tell me their next best player.
Kevin Love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Love, sorry. Kevin Love. Who's their next best player?
I don't even remember.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
not good.
Is it J.R. Smith? You know what
I
I'm saying?
guess. Unfortunately.
This is what we're talking about. And they're going up
Yeah.
against Steph. They're going up against Clay. They're going up against Draymond, Andre Iguodala, and Kevin Durant. Right? Like, if you go to you go on NBA Live, right? You go on there right now, and you create the Golden State All-Star team. That's who's going to pop up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even the Golden State team of the decade. That's them.
Yep.
It doesn't change, right? It's almost like you're
Right.
cheating. And to beat, the team minus, or no, they beat them with Kevin Durant. No, they beat them without Kevin Durant. And to beat that team was still a huge accomplishment, being that Kevin Love wasn't playing the way he should be playing, right?
Yeah, because that was they beat the 73-9 team.
Exactly. This team,
record-wise.
Yeah.
So.
It's
we know talent-wise, and when they got Durant in there, it was just a different story.
It's just unbelievable.
But yeah, it really is, and he's impressive, and I'm just enjoying watching him and what he's doing. And I can't wait to see him next year.
Dude,
I mean,
I'm excited for you. Outside of the LeBron subject, you got the Nets coming up next year. You should have a healthy Kyrie. You should have a healthy KD. I mean, that should be pretty fun to watch those guys since they're right down the road from you.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll have to go check them out. See if we can get the. I went to a Sixers Nets game this year. Of course, Kyrie didn't play. Durant didn't play. Ben Simmons was out. He was a late time scratch. I was so upset when I got to the arena. I was like, bro, you gotta be kidding me.
That was me. I went to the Hornets versus Houston, and Russell Westbrook was a late stretch. That was right before coronavirus hit. So.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Yep.
That was crazy.
Yep. All right, man. Well, any other hot takes? Anything LeBron-wise? Anything you're looking for next year besides recruiting LeBron to Charlotte? What's good?
Listen, man. I mean, a championship or bust, right? That's the mentality. It's what it always is for LeBron. So I'm excited to see what they do, who they get in the offseason, and how that Lakers team gets better. I'm not a Lakers fan. I am a LeBron fan. I'll be the first to tell you that. But I mean, dude, he's just bringing those guys up, and so I look forward to seeing what he does. At the end of the day, he goes down as the GOAT in my book.
All right. Well, there's the answer for you. LeBron's legacy episode. This is episode 22 of my podcast, dude.
That's crazy.
We're moving right along. We'll definitely have you on again. For those of you listening, we'll get some off-season episodes here coming up. Maybe some draft episodes. I mean, everything's coming up so quick. You got draft, free agency. And the season, I think they're planning to start mid-January, I saw.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
So it's coming up. We're going to get back to it. Sixers got a new coach, and I'm excited about that hire, actually. So we'll see how that goes. All right, man. Well, you take it easy.
All right.
And we will see you all next time.
Peace.
Peace.